Welcome to Cohesive Friendship Unit. My name is Chris. I'm here with Brian,
What's going on?
Jake,
Hey guys.
and Jeremy.
What is up?
After 2 years, we've finally seen Halo Infinite, guys. We've been waiting for literal years for this moment. It's 5-year game in the making. 343 is doing a spiritual reboot of Halo, and it happens. I mean, we saw what it looks like. We have a lot to talk about Halo Infinite, and before we get into that, we would love it if you sub us. If you found this video helpful, then throw us a like, and let us know down below what you thought of Halo Infinite. All right, let's try to start with the positives.
What positive, man?
There were new weapons.
There were new weapons. I liked.
There were new weapons, and really though, but that's part of Halo.
It's true.
That's kind of one of the things that is this is Halo versus this is just your average. Is you got to know the weapons and what they do and how they work. So that's cool.
Yeah, they showed a lot of weapons.
Yeah, I did like those, and they were because Halo 2 and 3 and Reach all have pretty much the same weapons. They're just slightly retextured. These ones had brand new weapons, which I really like that.
Yeah, I know that we'll never get another Marty O'Donnell, R.I.P. But I did like the vibe of the music. I thought the music was going in the right direction. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It was
It's
the themes from
Yeah, but it had the right vibe. I don't know. Halo 4 and 5 doesn't hit like Marty hits.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
and
It was alright. It wasn't fantastic. The music in the earlier games was fantastic, but it was alright.
I think the Halo soundtracks are some of the best in video games. Definitely first-person shooters.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, when was the last time you listened to the Call of Duty soundtrack?
I liked the vision that they gave us. I know that this is a positive for me, not necessarily for you guys. I liked that it looks like they're gonna the missions are going to be more open-ended, where they drop you in an area and they give you objectives to accomplish however you want. And if you think about it, that's kind of like what Halo has always pioneered. It's always been a sandboxy type of game. But I did like that they seem to be embracing that as opposed to just putting you down always. I liked it.
I think that would be that if that's what it ends up being, that will be interesting. I'm worried that it will be more of a generic copy paste, take the fort, clear the enemies type situation.
Yeah. Did any of you guys play Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor?
I did.
Nah.
Because that game is very similar, or Halo Infinite strikes me as it's going to be similar. You have an objective, it's go take the fort. You can do it however you want because it's technically an open world, but it's they dropped a whole bunch of things in the area and you can go do them, and they're kind of just simple fetch quests. But I don't know, Shadow of Mordor was also one of my favorite games at the time, so it can work if you do it right.
Well, I think for me, part of what made Halo, I agree that how you approach it is sandboxy and has always been sandboxy, in that yes, on a fundamental level, your objective in Halo is always kill the enemies and get to the other side of the map. But those maps were very deliberately designed, and the enemies were thoughtfully placed to create certain moments of engagement and contact, and how are you going to deal with this type of enemy here versus what guns are available versus how much ammo is on the map and shit like that. And I'm a little nervous that maybe less care will be taken with where you'll be going into engagements in this new title.
I mean, it always was the illusion of discovery more than actual.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
It was.
No, I don't mean
sandbox
exploration.
on
I mean
rails.
combat.
Yeah, but it worked well. I like what you're saying. That conscious design, it made it feel like you were exploring a Halo, but you really weren't.
You were walking down a hall.
If you're a fucking 7-foot tall cyborg Superman, or do you want to be exploring or do you want to be shooting shit?
Also,
Like, if
Vader.
you
Yeah,
want to be
yeah.
constantly killing stuff, you gotta kind of be channeled.
Halo's
you
not
know?
that wide. He can't explore that much.
Also true.
Yeah, I
And
don't
it
want
always looks like the Atari logos in the sky.
I don't want to get into negatives too soon, but the Halo does seem a lot smaller than you would think. Right, like this is supposed to be,
Broken, Jake.
yeah, but you're supposed to be able to fit like a whole freaking planet on a Halo. But if you look in the sky, like you would expect it to take up the entire horizon, but it doesn't. I mean, you remember what was the name of the station in Mass Effect? The thing was fucking huge.
The Citadel?
The Citadel, like it should be. I would expect it to be at that scale.
Good old Ass Effect. Well, I don't know how much... I mean, do we have anything? We don't have to force it. Like, if we don't have any other positives, we can go for it. I mean, I think it looks fine. Like, I'm just happy that it's
Yeah.
not Halo 5, and it's more Halo. Like,
It looks fine.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a video game. It would probably be enjoyable to play.
I don't know.
Okay, Jake, you don't know. Let's shift. Let's let it out. Let's open Pandora's box. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So this game looks like fucking garbage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bad.
So I mean, there's a lot wrong with it, and I'm sure we're going to hit every single one in the course of this video. But in general, I think there's more of a problem. Like if you go the Breath of the Wild approach and you go cell shaded, artsy, but you got pop in all the time and there's problems, that's fine because you went for an art style that kind of hides that well. But if you go for a visual style that is supposed to be like high fidelity, great visuals, and then you completely miss the mark with like pop in and low texture distance quality, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
I mean, we're gonna hit all these, but I mean, to me, the lighting, which it's dynamic lighting, so I understand that it's not like The Last of Us 2 where the lighting's all staged and it doesn't move. Like, this is moving lighting, so whatever. But other games have managed to look better. I get that it's pseudo open world, but Red Dead Redemption 2 looks pretty fucking good. There's a shitload of pop-in. Like driving the Warthog is like cringy to me, as well as going up the elevator in the demo. The animals don't interact with the foliage, so they just kind of clip through the grass. It looks like fucking bad. It looks worse than Halo Reach to me.
There's a really bizarre moment where Master Chief, when he goes up to the console at the end of the video and he taps on a button, they swap out the asset completely, and like it's a totally different like thing. Like it's just
When you leave the map, all the fucking lighting has to reload.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tough to watch.
I didn't see all that shit because I only watched the trailer once when I was going to the bathroom at work. But, like, I don't know. It didn't look good. The cutscene that they showed in that 8-minute trailer looked worse than the cutscenes in the Halo 2 remastered.
Well, those
Infinitely
are pre-rendered, to be
It
fair.
doesn't matter. Do you think that was in engine?
No,
The whole cutscene there was in engine. You don't think
it's
that was
possible.
pre-rendered?
I kind of think
Like-
it was an engine.
If it
But
looks
either
that
way-
bad, why wouldn't you do it pre-rendered?
Exactly.
Like,
Either
it
way,
would
they
make it
could've-
look impressive.
They could have pre-rendered them. They pre-rendered
Like-
them in every other recent Halo game.
It looked 20. I was thinking 2015 when I was watching the cutscene, but when I saw the gameplay footage, I knew it was 2016. That's what it looked like to me.
Honestly,
Are you gonna buy $1,000 console to play that?
Okay, so that's the thing. I mean, we can keep hammering on the technical side. This was apparently running on a PC. Like, this isn't even... So this game's coming out on...
What kind of PC?
Exactly, right? So this is coming out on...
presumably a good one because this is their big fucking reveal.
So this is coming out on Xbox One, the console that came out in 2013, which in that scenario, I guess this is a bit more forgivable, but this was running on a PC. Presumably that's somewhat equivalent to the Xbox Series X. Like,
It would make no sense for it not to be. Like, why would you show your game on hardware that was not equipped to give you the best possible impression of what is clearly a visually not impressive game?
and it has so
Right.
much pop in. Like, things like the solid state drive and like the RAM allocation and all that was supposed to alleviate that type of stuff.
I think the lighting and the shadows are the worst part. I mean, like the Series X is supposed to be the ray tracing console, and they come out with this shit job of lighting. Like
With no ray
dynamic
tracing.
lighting, like right, like you went with dynamic lighting, great, but like where's the ray tracing? That's the whole fucking point of the Series X is to give you ray tracing, and they come out with this. Like if you watch the video and you look at the guns, you'll see there's no shadows throwing off the gun, especially if you look at the assault rifle, which has the triangular angled top. You can see it throws no shadows, which is really jarring. It looks like a poorly rendered weapon that you're holding that's right in front of your face the whole time. Like what were they thinking?
It looks like Reach. It really looks like Reach. I don't think it's worse than Reach, but it looks a lot like Reach.
I think also like on a slight, horizontal, like I think they really missed the mark with the art style. Like it's not like dramatically different, but like it looks way too cartoony in my opinion. It really looks like they're trying to appeal to like Overwatch players. Like you can look at the side character that is hanging out with Master Chief in the beginning. Like he's just so smooth, and his like features are all out of like they're not in proportion to be remotely realistic. Like the guns are all really cartoony. The visuals are really, really busy. There's lots of colorful explosions like all the time. There are these yellow hexagons that move across your visor like pretty frequently. It looks really smooth and plasticky and cartoony. I think they're trying to attract a younger audience, but like it does not, in my opinion, fit the aesthetic of Halo like at all. And I'm not against taking new, like, Breath of the Wild was a new aesthetic, and that game was really cool looking.
Speaking of aesthetics, though, or appealing to a younger audience, there's no blood. At least there's no like OG Halo blood, which it doesn't matter, but I don't know. It looks weird.
Oh,
it looks weird killing these guys without any. I mean, there was a little bit of blood.
There was a small bit at one point, but there wasn't like splatters. Like that's not really that disturbing.
And I'm not saying that we need gallons of blood, but I think that helps, or that hurts and hinders the art style if things like that, once you pile on things like the lighting not fitting and the materials looking plasticky, when you shoot someone in the face and there's not like blood, I think that hurts the illusion of like grounding you in the world. I don't know.
It doesn't
you kind of expect.
It just feels like you're just like bopping around hanging out. Like there's no weight to anything.
You almost expect that kind of like cartoony over the top, not really even over the top at the level it was in the other Halo games, like, because this is it seems kind of more in line with that. Like if you look at especially kind of the earlier ones, it seems they're always a little bit kind of cartoony because it's 500 years in the future or whatever, but at least there was, everything felt like it was on the same kind of track. This was really like, it was a lot of, how you can toggle between the graphics on like Halo 1 and 2 on the Master Chief Collection on PC. Like you can turn on the original graphics and everything is really clear where the enemies are, and then you go to the modern graphics and it's like a mess of shit and like lens flare and terrible things. This was like that. It's like I want to push tab so I can see what I'm shooting at, versus like all the effects that they put in on top of it to kind of distract from the work that they didn't do, I guess. I don't know.
I've been staring at this like thumbnail for the Infinite trailer, and like the whole scenery looks like a Bob Ross painting, which like, yeah, it's a great painting, but when I'm playing a video game, like you're up close and you're seeing everything in detail, and you're going to notice that everything is just like a couple of brushstrokes instead of blades of grass.
Well, so speaking of blades of grass, we talked about this offline a bit, but they showed us a trailer about 2 years ago in 2018 for E3, which they claimed to be running in this new engine that they were building for this game. and it looks, I think what we would all, first of all, they showed us that trailer in engine, so that you kind of don't expect it to maybe look 100%, but it's, it should share the vibe. And second, they showed that 2 years ago, so I think you would expect it to be much closer, and it just looks so different from this quote final product.
Indescribably better, like both in terms of just the technical performance and not having pretty much all the technical issues we just talked about, and also just, again, the art style being much more consistent with like Halo games. Like, it looks somewhat realistic, it has a little bit of weight, it kind of has a like military type vibe.
Do you guys think they made a mistake showing us that E3 trailer and like the promo, just like splash screen during the original announcement, which was just like the Halo?
I mean, yes and no. The only reason I say no is because look at the box art for the game, which is the thumbnail for the trailer. It's very much in line with that engine trailer. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like they showed us those trailers, those initial looks, and it was like very scenic, high fidelity, beautiful landscapes, very empty, which at least for me gave me the impression that like this is a game about, like, it's more exploration, it's more like, I don't know, it's something I would put in line with a Last of Us or a God of War in the terms of it's a journey, it's an RPG that you're like experiencing as an individual. Whereas this Halo Infinite trailer almost looked like you just walked into like the noob area in WoW Classic and you're just fighting a bunch of like clay monsters to grind experience.
I agree with that completely.
so,
The brutes also look just stupid. Like, they don't. I have nothing else to say about them. They just look bad. They just
there's
don't look.
Craig.
I love Craig. Craig's cool, but
Craig.
the other ones look stupid.
So, what, on like a broader note, what do we think about the idea? I mean, other companies have claimed this, and that has not been the case, but 343 is claiming that this will be the only Halo game for the next 10 years, and that they are going to be building off of this game.
Sounds
People
great.
are going to be very disappointed in Halo as a franchise
For the next 10 years.
for the next 10 years.
I'm so excited for my
Master
Halo
Chief
subscription
will hang
service.
his head in shame.
I mean, if they go, like, I personally love Destiny. If they go a Destiny route, I would not be disappointed. But we also know plenty of games that have been supported for years, and I don't know. I don't want to like throw too much controversy in, but No Man's Sky, it's been around for a long time. It's been supported for a long time, and they made improvements, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm glad that that game has continued to being supported. Like,
I
I
just
think
wish,
I'd rather see another Halo game.
Yeah.
I wish that they would be willing to leave the Xbox One behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Because I think part of the problem that Jake, I think that's a good comparison with No Man's Sky. Like, if you don't move on to another title, like all the they've improved No Man's Sky. All the fundamental problems I had with it when I first played it still exist because it's the same game. Like, you can't address any of the root issues with a title as long as you're just adding on new material, new content.
Right. And take like KSP that Brian loves. Like, I would say there's like nothing wrong with the original Kerbal Space Program, but they're still coming up with a second one because it gives you a clean slate, starts something new fundamentals to build off of.
Well,
yeah,
the fundamentals are astronomical mechanics. Like, those don't change. Physics doesn't change.
Right.
But
But
they can
you get
simulate
like
better.
you get to build new objectives and like it's a new game, right? You get to start new.
it's become a political issue at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would say about KSP2. And like, I'm so sorry that it happened because like I wanted it to be different than this, but like but this isn't about KSP2.
This is about Halo Infinite.
Even though I'll still buy it day one.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if they fuck up the multiplayer and it just sucks, then they'll make a new game. But
Well, and that's really that's what's gonna sell it is the multiplayer. Like, the campaign is kind of secondary. Like it's cool and it's like meme worthy, but you know, it's like the vast majority of the time that you spend playing Halo is not playing the campaign.
Yeah.
But also, we all bought the MCC collection and played all the campaigns.
Yeah, because like why not? You know, the campaign's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with the campaign. It's like a nice epic storyline and like it's kind of ridiculous, but you know, it's enjoyable. It's fun to do. But it's just kind of something on this. I mean, they haven't it's not like COD where it's like the campaign is not worth doing, but like they got to acknowledge that the online is a lot of what makes Halo Halo. You know what I mean? Like it's the
Yeah, they're gonna show
the voice and the online stuff and like all the shit that goes on. Like that's what's gonna sell this. It's not necessarily gonna be the campaign.
So the leaving the Xbox One behind comment, I am also confused as to why they built this with the Xbox One in mind. Like you're releasing a Series X console that is above current PC specs for the vast majority of people. So your audience is now PC players and Series X players, which are essentially PC players now. Why bother with Xbox One?
I
I
think
don't
it's
get it.
partially a promise thing. I think it's similar to why Breath of the Wild released on the Wii U, which is hard to even remember. I think it was pseudo implied that this was coming on the Xbox One, and they didn't want to leave them behind. And honestly, it probably started development on the Xbox One. Like this, I think the timing was just, eh.
What this looks like is something that the hardware got ahead of them in development. Like it looks like an upscale of a game that
of a
was at a
older game.
much lower resolution, and like they made it look okay in 4K and like the higher resolutions, but like under the hood, it's not there.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And I think the short-sightedness of this is like if you're going to support this for 10 years, and like we have to remember 10 years means Series X launches, xCloud is now out, and you could play everything on Game Pass for xCloud for the same price at 4K on your phone.
Well,
And
also,
now
Dude,
you're
10
gonna
years
support
is
this
Elon Musk has put his fucking chip in your brain, and
Right.
you're just streaming clips over your eyes.
10
Like
years
that's
is
it.
half as long as Xbox has existed.
Right. And you're telling me that you're gonna you're gonna redo your engine to bring in ray tracing, you're gonna redo all of these textures,
No.
you're gonna bring in new assets for all of the enemies to make things look better? Like,
Never
come on,
gonna
just
happen.
make a new game.
Yeah.
I would say that I was very impressed that the enemies' mouths moved when they were talking, and you could tell which one was saying what. Like, and I feel like that's a good, you know, that's where I set the bar. Is like you could, oh, he said that because his mouth moved in synchronization, like, and it looked like he was saying what the audio was like. That's really good for 2016.
For 2016. Yeah, I mean, do we have anything else to say, or are we good to move to final kind of thoughts on this? I think we're good to move to final thoughts. Yeah.
Final kind of thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it seems like they really did not want to show this game, and they pushed it off until like months before it's shipping to show us any gameplay. And I think they're in a bad spot. The game itself looks fine, but I mean, obviously visually it doesn't look fine. The game looks okay. And I'm you know, for Game Pass for $10, I'm still excited to play it. I really hope that the studio isn't being like crunched to hell on this, which I know they are, based on what it looks like. But
Yeah.
just I mean, I get that you're launching a console and you gotta have a game with it, but like, delay it, man. Do whatever you gotta do. That's all I'll say. And I am looking forward to playing it.
Halo was basically the only like carrot that Microsoft had to get anyone to buy an Xbox. Like in terms of spec, it's like identical to PlayStation, and they have no other big IP, and they haven't announced any other big IP. Like, Gears of War is more or less dead. Like, that's not a console seller. And like, this is what they put out. Like, who's gonna buy an Xbox to play this? Like, it's just like, as you said, the gameplay looks like it might be fine to fun ish, but like just not unimpressive, not memorable. Like, nothing that hasn't been seen or done in many other video games. What's up?
More Halo.
But I don't even think it's more Halo. I think it loses, at least on first blush, like a lot of what made even Halo interesting. It's like, I think Jake, the suggestion that this might be more of a Destiny type situation. It just doesn't. It feels very soulless. I don't think this is. I think they're in very bad shape, because what else do they have after this?
Yeah. If you go back, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 videos ago, 1 week ago, during our Xbox pre-show video, we said Halo is the make or break game for Series X. And right now, this is definitely going to break Series X. This looks like shit.
Not even because it's disastrous. It's just, it had to be good. Like, it had to make someone interested and like, oh, I'll buy that. Like, why not just buy PlayStation?
Yeah. Because they already showed us all their games, and all their games look really good.
Yeah, you get fucking Spider-Man, Last of Us. Like, you get good games on that one.
I think this is an artifact of indecision at Microsoft, to be perfectly honest. Like, they don't know which way they're going to go with the streaming and the support, and like, they have all these different consoles out, and it's like, you just bought an Xbox One X or whatever, and we want to continue supporting this, but the hardware has advanced so much, and we can do all these new things, and PlayStation's doing all these new things, but we want to have the support for the older shit. So like, we have to intentionally hamstring ourselves on this. And this doesn't sell a $1,000 console. This doesn't sell a $750 console. And I would argue that it doesn't sell a $500 console either, which is not what the Series X is going to be launching at. So, you got to make up your mind sometimes. Like, you can't play broad in the video game market. Like, you really have to know your niche and do it really, really well. And I think this is the product of waffling. I think this is something that's been clearly delayed in development. I mean, like I said, it looks like an upscale. Like, this looks like something that you come up with when you have a launch date set in the sand and you only have so much to work with. So make it look nice and push it out. And they got too much to prove. Like, you can't be doing this when you're in the position that Microsoft's in. I think people will buy it and I think people will play it, but I don't think it's going to be a world beater. And that's kind of unfortunate, because it could have been something really nice, but it doesn't seem to be.
I think that was well put. I'm going to keep you on the hook though, Brian, because what should our Halo Infinite fans be doing?
Well, they should be fucking playing Halo,
Yeah.
not watching stupid YouTube videos,
Buddha
right?
Master Chief, motherfucker.
You finishing this fight, sir.
Finishing this
Okay.
fight, sir.
Right? But, if you're finishing this fight or if you're finishing this pint, go ahead and let your thoughts on that flow into the word box down there. And, we give away shit from time to time on this channel, but we only give away shit to people who subscribe to us. So you gotta subscribe if you want the shit. And it's like Steam codes and stuff, and it's games. Stuff you guys would probably like. And if you watch this far in the video, you probably like the video too, so why don't you throw us that sub, throw us that like if you liked it, and smoke them if you got them, guys. That's all for me tonight, Chris.